Leviticus 19. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the entire assembly of the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, Be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Let each one fear his father and his mother. Observe my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Do not be willing to convert to idols, neither should you make molten gods for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. If you immolate a victim of peace offerings to the Lord, so that he may be appeased, you shall eat it on the same day as when it was immolated, and the next day. Then whatever will remain on the third day you shall burn with fire. If anyone, after 2 days, will have eaten from it, he shall be profane and guilty of impiety. And he shall bear his iniquity, for he has polluted what is holy to the Lord. And that soul shall perish from his people. When you will have harvested the grain fields of your land, you shall not cut it down to the surface of the land, even to the ground, nor shall you gather the remaining ears of grain. Neither shall you gather the clusters or individual grapes which fall down in your vineyard, but you shall leave them for paupers and travelers to take. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal. You shall not lie. Neither shall anyone deceive his neighbor. You shall not commit perjury in my name, nor shall you pollute the name of your God. I am the Lord. You shall not slander your neighbor, nor shall you oppress him by violence. The wages of a hired hand, you shall not delay with you until tomorrow. You shall not speak evil of the deaf, nor shall you place a stumbling block before the blind, but you shall fear the Lord your God, for I am the Lord. You shall not do what is unjust, nor shall you judge unjustly. You shall not consider the reputation of the poor, nor shall you honor the countenance of the powerful. Judge your neighbor justly. You shall not be a detractor, nor a whisperer, among the people. You shall not stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am the Lord. You shall not hate your brother in your heart, but reprove him openly, lest you have sin over him. Do not seek revenge, neither should you be mindful of the injury of your fellow citizens. You shall love your friend as yourself. I am the Lord. Observe my laws. You shall not cause your cattle to breed with other kinds of animals. You shall not sow your field with diverse seeds. You shall not be clothed with a garment which has been woven from 2 things. If a man will have slept in sexual intercourse with a woman, who is a servant and who is also able to be married, and yet he has not redeemed her with a price, nor paid to set her free, they both shall be beaten, but they shall not die, for she was not a free woman. But, for his offense, he shall offer a ram to the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the testimony. And the priest shall pray for him, and for his sin, before the Lord, and he shall win his favor again for him, and the sin shall be forgiven. When you will have entered into the land, and will have planted in it fruit trees, you shall take away their first fruits. The fruit that germinates shall be unclean to you, neither shall you eat from these. But in the 4th year, all their fruit shall be sanctified for the praise of the Lord. And in the 5th year you shall eat the produce, gathering the fruits which are brought forth. I am the Lord your God. You shall not eat with blood. You shall not practice divination, nor the observation of dreams. And you shall not cut the hair of your head circularly, nor shave your beard. You shall not cut your flesh for the dead, and you shall not make other figures or marks on yourself. I am the Lord. Do not prostitute your daughter, lest a land be contaminated and filled with crimes. Observe my Sabbaths, and be apprehensive toward my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not turn aside to astrologers, nor consult with soothsayers, so as to be polluted through them. I am the Lord your God. Rise up in the presence of a gray-haired head, and honor the reputation of an elder, and fear the Lord your God. I am the Lord. If a newcomer lives in your land and abides among you, do not reproach him, but let him be among you like one native born. and you shall love him as yourselves. For you were also newcomers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Do not be willing to accomplish iniquity in judgment, in lengths, in weights, in quantities. Let the scales be just and the weights equal, let the dry measure be just and the liquid measure be equal. I am the Lord your God, who led you away from the land of Egypt. Keep all my precepts, and all my judgments, and accomplish them. I am the Lord. Leviticus 20. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, You shall speak these things to the sons of Israel, a man among the sons of Israel, or among the newcomers who live in Israel, if he will have given from his seed to the idol Moloch, he shall be put to death, the people of the land shall stone him. And I will set my face against him. And I will cut him down from the midst of his people, because he has given from his seed to Moloch, and he has contaminated my sanctuary, and polluted my holy name. But if the people of the land, having been neglectful and holding little regard for my authority, release the man who has given from his seed to Moloch, and they are not willing to kill him, I will set my face over that man and over his kindred, and I will cut down both him and all who consented with him to fornicate with Moloch, from the midst of their people. The soul who will have turned aside to astrologers and soothsayers, and who will have fornicated with them, I will set my face against him, and I will destroy him from the midst of his people. Be sanctified and be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Observe my precepts, and do them. I am the Lord, who sanctifies you. Whoever curses his father or mother shall die a death, he has cursed his father and mother. So let his blood be upon him. If anyone will have committed sexual acts with the wife of another, or will have perpetrated adultery with his neighbor's spouse, they shall die a death, both the adulterer and the adulteress. Whoever will have slept with his stepmother, or will have uncovered the shame of his father, they shall both die a death. So let their blood be upon them. If any man will have slept with his daughter-in-law, both shall die, for they have acted according to wickedness. So let their blood be upon them. If any man has slept with a male in place of sexual intercourse with a female, both have committed a nefarious act, they shall die a death. So let their blood be upon them. If any man, having taken the daughter as a wife, will have married her mother, he has acted according to wickedness. He shall be burned alive with them. Neither shall so great a nefarious act persist in your midst. Whoever will have committed sexual acts with any animal or cattle, he shall die a death. Likewise, you shall slay the beast. The woman who will have lain under any animal at all shall be destroyed together with it. So let their blood be upon them. Whoever will have taken his sister, the daughter of his father or the daughter of his mother, and will have seen her nakedness, and she will have looked upon her brother's shame, they have committed a nefarious act. They shall be slain in the sight of their people, because they have uncovered one another's nakedness. And they shall bear their iniquity. Whoever has sexual intercourse with a woman in her menstrual flow, and has uncovered her nakedness, and she has opened the fountain of her blood, both shall be destroyed from the midst of their people. You shall not expose the nakedness of your maternal or paternal aunt. Whoever does this has laid bare the shame of his own flesh, both shall bear their iniquity. If any man has had sexual intercourse with a wife of his paternal or maternal uncle, and he has uncovered the shame of his close relative, both shall bear their sin. They shall die without children. Whoever will have married his brother's wife has done an unlawful thing, he has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be without children. Observe my laws as well as my judgments, and act according to them, lest the land, into which you will enter and live, may vomit you out, too. Do not be willing to walk by the ordinances of the nations, which I will expel before you. For they have done all these things, and so I abominate them. But I say to you, possess their land, which I will give to you as an inheritance, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has separated you from the other peoples. Therefore, you must also separate the clean animals from the unclean, and the clean birds from the unclean. Do not pollute your souls with cattle, or birds, or anything that moves upon the earth, and which I have shown you to be unclean. You shall be holy unto me, because I, the Lord, am holy, and I have separated you from the other peoples, so that you would be mine. A man or a woman, in whom there is an oracle-like or a divining spirit, shall be put to death. They shall stone them. So let their blood be upon them. Leviticus 21. The Lord also said to Moses, Speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and you shall say to them, Do not allow a priest to be contaminated by the death of his citizens, except only by his blood relatives and near relatives, that is, by a father or mother, or by a son or daughter, or also a brother, or a virgin sister, who is not married to a husband. But not even by the leader of his people shall he be contaminated. Neither shall they shave their head or their beard, and they shall not make incisions in their flesh. They shall be holy to their God, and they shall not pollute his name. For they offer the incense of the Lord and the bread of their God, and because of this they shall be holy. They shall not take as a wife a promiscuous woman, or a prostitute, or her who has been repudiated by her husband. For they are consecrated to their God. And they offer the bread of the presence. Therefore, let them be holy, for I also am holy, the Lord, who sanctifies them. If the daughter of a priest will have been taken into prostitution, and will have violated the name of her father, she shall be consumed by fire. The high priest, that is, the priest who is the greatest among his brothers, upon whose head the oil of anointing has been poured, and whose hands have been consecrated for the priesthood, and who has been vested with the holy vestments, he shall not expose his head, he shall not rend his vestments. And he shall not enter to any dead body whatsoever, likewise, not even by his father or mother shall he be contaminated. Neither shall he exit from the holy places, lest he pollute the sanctuary of the Lord. For the oil of the holy anointing of his God is upon him. I am the Lord. He shall take a virgin as his wife. But a widow, or one who has been repudiated or defiled, or also a mistress, he shall not accept, but only a maiden from among his own people. He shall not mingle the stock of his family with the common people of his nation. For I am the Lord, who sanctifies him. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to Aaron, a man from your offspring, throughout their families, who has a blemish, shall not offer the bread to his God. Neither shall he approach to minister to him, if he is blind, if he is lame, if he is small, or large, or has a crooked nose. If his foot or hand is broken. If he has a bulging back or bleary eyes, or if he has a white spot in his eye, or a chronic scab, or a skin disease on his body, or a hernia. Anyone from the offspring of Aaron, the priest, who has a blemish, shall not approach to offer sacrifices to the Lord, nor the bread to his God. Nevertheless, he shall eat from the loaves which are offered in the sanctuary. But even so, he may not enter within the veil, nor approach to the altar. For he has a blemish, and he must not contaminate my sanctuary. I am the Lord, who sanctifies them. Therefore, Moses spoke to Aaron, and to his sons, and to all of Israel, everything that had been commanded to him. Leviticus 22. The Lord also spoke to Moses saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, so that they may be careful of those things which have been consecrated for the sons of Israel, and so that they may not contaminate the name of the things sanctified to me, which they offer. I am the Lord. Say to them and to their posterity, every man of your stock, who approaches toward those things which have been consecrated, and which the sons of Israel have brought forward to the Lord, in whom there is uncleanness, shall perish before the Lord. I am the Lord. The man of the offspring of Aaron, who is a leper or who is suffering a flow of seed, shall not eat of those things which have been sanctified to me, until he is healed. Whoever will have touched what is unclean because of the dead, and he whose seed goes out from him, as if from sexual intercourse. And whoever has touched a creeping thing, or any kind of unclean thing, the touching of which is filthy, shall be unclean until evening, and shall not eat those things which have been sanctified. But when he has washed his flesh with water, and the sun has set, then, having been purified, he shall eat from what has been sanctified, because it is his food. Whatever dies on its own, and whatever has been seized by a wild beast, they shall not eat, nor shall they be polluted by these. I am the Lord. Let them observe my precepts, so that they may not fall under sin, and die in the sanctuary, when they will have defiled it. I am the Lord, who sanctifies them. No foreigner shall eat from what has been sanctified, a guest of the priests and a hired servant shall not eat from them. But whomever the priest has bought, and whoever has been born into his house, these shall eat from them. If the daughter of a priest has been married to any of the people, she shall not eat from what has been sanctified, nor from the first fruits. But if she is a widow or divorced, and, being without children, she returns to her father's house, she shall be nourished by her father's foods, just as she was accustomed to do as a girl. No foreigner shall have the authority to eat from them. Whoever, through ignorance, eats from what has been sanctified shall add a fifth part to that which he ate, and he shall give it to the priest of the sanctuary. And they shall not contaminate what has been sanctified from the sons of Israel, which they offer to the Lord, lest perhaps they may suffer the iniquity of their offense, when they will have eaten what has been sanctified. I am the Lord, who sanctifies them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron, and to his sons, and to all the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, the man from the house of Israel, or from the newcomers who live with you, who would bring forward his oblation, either fulfilling his vows or offering spontaneously, whatever he brings forward as a holocaust for the Lord, in order to be offered through you, shall offer an immaculate male from the oxen, or from the sheep, or from the goats. If it has a blemish, you shall not offer it, and it shall not be acceptable. The man who will have offered a victim of peace offerings to the Lord, either fulfilling his vows or offering spontaneously, whether of oxen, or of sheep, shall offer what is immaculate, so that it may be acceptable. There shall be no blemish in it. If it is blind, or if it is broken, or if it has a scar, or if it has a boil, or a skin disease or infection, you shall not offer these to the Lord, nor shall you burn any of these upon the altar of the Lord. An ox or a sheep, having an amputated ear or tail, you are able to offer voluntarily, but a vow is not able to be fulfilled by these. You shall not offer to the Lord any animal which has the testicles bruised, or crushed, or cut and taken away, and you shall not cause any of these things in your land. From the hand of a foreigner, you shall not offer bread to your God, nor anything else that he would choose to give, for all this has been corrupted and blemished. You shall not accept them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, An ox, a sheep, or a goat, when they have been born, shall be under the udder of their mother for 7 days. But on the 8th day and thereafter, they are able to be offered to the Lord. Whether it is an ox, or a sheep, they shall not be immolated on the same day with their newborns. If you immolate a victim as an act of thanksgiving to the Lord, so that he may be pleased, you shall eat it on the same day, none of it shall remain until morning on the next day. I am the Lord. Observe my commandments, and do them. I am the Lord. Do not pollute my holy name, so that I may be sanctified in the midst of the sons of Israel. I am the Lord, who sanctifies you, and who led you away from the land of Egypt, so that I may be to you as God. I am the Lord. Leviticus 23. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall call holy. For 6 days you shall do work, the seventh day, because it is the rest of the Sabbath, shall be called holy. You shall do no work on that day, it is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwelling places. Therefore, these are the feasts of the Lord, which you must celebrate in their times. The first month, the 14th day of the month, at evening, is the Passover of the Lord. And the 15th day of this month is the solemnity of the unleavened bread of the Lord. For 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. The first day shall be greatly honored and holy to you, you shall do no servile work in it. But you shall offer a sacrifice with fire, for 7 days, to the Lord. Then the 7th day shall be more honored and more holy, and you shall do no servile work in it. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and you shall say to them, When you will have entered into the land which I will give to you, and you will have harvested your grain fields, you shall carry the sheaves of grain, the first fruits of your harvest, to the priest. He shall lift up a sheaf before the Lord, on the day after the Sabbath, so that it may be acceptable for you, and he shall sanctify it. And on the same day that the sheaf is consecrated, a 1-year-old immaculate lamb shall be slain as a holocaust of the Lord. And the libations shall be offered with it, 2/10 of fine wheat flour sprinkled with oil, as an incense and a most sweet odor for the Lord, likewise, libations of wine, the 4th part of a hin. Bread, and parched grain, and boiled grain, you shall not eat from the grain field, until the day when you shall offer from it to your God. It is an everlasting precept in your generations and in all of your dwelling places. Therefore, you shall number from the day after the Sabbath, in which you offered a sheaf of the first fruits, 7 full weeks. All the way to the day after the completion of the 7th week, that is, 50 days, and then you shall offer a new sacrifice to the Lord. From all of your dwelling places, 2 loaves from the first fruits, from 2/10 of leavened fine wheat flour, which you shall bake as the first fruits of the Lord. And you shall offer with the bread, 7 immaculate 1-year-old lambs, and 1 calf from the herd, and 2 rams, and these shall be a holocaust, with their libations, as a most sweet odor to the Lord. You shall also offer a he-goat for sin, and 2 1-year-old lambs as victims of peace offerings. And when the priest has lifted them up with the loaves of the first fruits, in the sight of the Lord, they shall fall to his use. And you shall call this day most honored and most holy, you shall do no servile work in it. It shall be an everlasting ordinance in all your dwelling places and generations. And when you will have harvested the grain fields of your land, you shall not cut it down all the way to the ground, neither shall you gather the remnants of the ears of grain, but you shall leave these for paupers and strangers. I am the Lord your God. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the sons of Israel, the 7th month, the first day of the month, shall be a Sabbath for you, a memorial, with the sounding of trumpets, and it shall be called holy. You shall do no servile work in it, and you shall offer a holocaust to the Lord. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, The 10th day of this 7th month shall be the Day of Atonement, it shall be most honored, and it shall be called holy. And you shall afflict your souls on that day, and you shall offer a holocaust to the Lord. You shall do no servile work in the time of this day, for it is a day of propitiation, so that the Lord your God may be merciful to you. Every soul that has not been afflicted on this day shall perish from his people. And anyone who will have done work, I shall wipe him away from his people. Therefore, you shall do no work on that day. This shall be an everlasting ordinance for you in all your generations and dwelling places. It is a Sabbath of rest, and you shall afflict your souls beginning on the 9th day of the month, from evening until evening you shall celebrate your Sabbaths. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the sons of Israel, from the 15th day of this 7th month, there shall be the Feast of Tabernacles, 7 days for the Lord. The first day shall be called most honored and most holy, you shall do no servile work in it. And for 7 days you shall offer holocausts to the Lord. Likewise, the 8th day shall be most honored and most holy, and you shall offer holocausts to the Lord. For it is the day of assembly and gathering. You shall do no servile work in it. These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall call most honored and most holy, and in them you shall offer oblations to the Lord, holocausts and libations according to the rite of each particular day. Aside from the Sabbaths of the Lord, and your donations, and that which you offer by a vow, or which you give to the Lord spontaneously. Therefore, from the 15th day of the 7th month, when you will have gathered together all the fruits of your land, you shall celebrate the feast of the Lord for 7 days. The first day and the 8th day shall be a Sabbath, that is, a day of rest. And you shall take for yourselves, on the first day, the fruits of the most beautiful tree, and branches of palm trees, and branches of trees with thick foliage, and willows from the torrent. And you shall rejoice in the sight of the Lord your God. And you shall celebrate its solemnity for 7 days each year. This shall be an everlasting ordinance in your generations. In the 7th month, you shall celebrate the feast. And you shall live under shelters for 7 days. All who are of the family of Israel shall dwell in tabernacles. So that your posterity may learn that I caused the sons of Israel to live in tabernacles, when I led them away from the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses spoke about the solemnities of the Lord to the sons of Israel. Thank you for watching. If you like the content on this channel, please press subscribe, the like button or comment below. We'd love to get your tips. See you next time.